Roll call. Chair Edgar Chase IV.
Present.
Vice Chair Andronika Morris.
Present.
Secretary Treasurer G. Wade Wooten.
Present.
Board Member Giselle Johnson Banks. Board Member Charles Brown. Board Member Stephen Smith. Board Member Hunter Thomas.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. And we'll get started with our June 28th, 2021 Finance New Orleans Board of Trustees meeting. Looking at agenda item number 2, I see old business. We have none. We'll move right into the agenda item number 3, the consent agenda items, which we have to approve. Finance Board meeting May's minutes, as well as the Finance and Investment Committee meeting minutes on April 20th, 2021, as well as the Programs Committee meeting minutes, May 24th, 2021. So if everyone had a chance to review them, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to item 4, the new business, there is none. Next item is going to be the Finance and Investment Committee meeting dashboard. And Mr. Wooten, I'll let you take over.
Okay, give me one second. Setup, please. Okay. So are y'all going to show the dashboard?
I'm getting an error message from Adobe, but I'm trying.
Okay,
1 second.
take your time.
Byron, can you jump in and put up the dashboard we just did in the Finance Committee meeting? I'm unable to connect on the Adobe side.
Hang on, let's see.
Never mind, I have it. Give me 1 second. Okay, can everyone see that? Wade,
No, I can't. I can't. Can y'all?
I can.
I can
You
see
don't-
it now.
okay.
Bear with me. Something's not right on my screen. Bear with me. No.
Hi, everyone. This is Giselle.
How you doing, Miss Banks?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Thanks, Giselle, for joining us.
Thanks, y'all. I'm gonna mute myself because I have Baby Shark playing in the background. So,
I can see it now. I apologize.
Nice, we don't see it anymore. Did it
Yeah,
fall off the screen?
Yeah, I lost it too. It's
Yeah, I'm
almost,
here.
it's almost like they turned off the share screen.
You're on mute now.
Uh-huh.
Wade, do you see it?
I do.
Okay, great.
Okay. If you want to scroll down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, next page, please. Okay, you can probably stop there. So, okay, so to just in broad strokes, some talking points with regard to finance and investments for Finance Authority of New Orleans. With regard to the ongoing audit, an update. So the engagement with our auditing firm started on May 4th, and it's currently still in progress. The auditors are still in the final stages, but they're still reviewing a few outstanding items and waiting to conduct certain standard components, such as fraud interviews and a couple of other important documents being finalized as well. Given these outstanding items, the submission deadline has been extended to July 31st. And this, again, will give the auditors enough time to clear outstanding items and send the draft through its series of internal control quality checks and escalations. Any questions on the audit before I move on? Okay. With regard to the market update on pages 5 and 6, let's see. So with regard to the U.S., the economic data has been very strong over the last month. Ongoing vaccine rollout is allowing many of the economies to gradually reopen, and this fiscal support has resulted in a big jump in economic activity. We're also seeing inflation tick up in the market, which has caused some volatility. The Fed does believe that the inflation uptick and the supply and demand imbalance is temporary, so the focus is temporary, and as a result of pandemic disruptions that hopefully will stabilize over the near term. Despite the minimal concern from the Fed, the market's still keeping an eye on consumer inflation expectations and wage growth to see whether the higher price pressures will continue past the summer. And if it does, the Fed could be forced to bring about a premature end to the growth rebounds. And with regard to rates, market rates in the treasuries and the munis moved lower over the past month. The 10-year Treasury moved roughly 21 basis points to 1.43. The 10-year muni has moved 13 basis points, trading at around 0.89. The downward movement in both securities left the muni, the Treasury spread relatively unchanged, but overall it remains at historic lows, which of course impacts us. Mortgage rates, which generally track Treasuries, actually moved lower over the past month, which may have been a result of a lower than expected jobs number. Despite the low rates, mortgage applications have declined, which could be a result of restricted inventories or rising home prices, or perhaps both. There's also been a decrease in the refinance activity in recent weeks. And then just to wrap up, muni demand remains strong as we've seen rates decline across the curve. And then last but not least, with regard to the local economic situation, Orleans Parish, the unemployment rate has decreased to 11.1% in April from 9.7% in March. But there's a significant improvement from the 19.7, as you may recall, in April, from April 2020. Almost a twofold improvement. On another positive note, the city's sales taxes are up, and they have received the first portion of the $375 million federal relief funds. And yes, there's still no word on how that will be allocated. Okay, so rolling to the financial status report as of April 2021. Okay. So this page, there we go. Thanks. This page provides a comprehensive view of our year-to-date revenues and expenses. Overall, revenues year-to-date were $62,000 versus a budget of $134,000. It's driven primarily by multi-family income, and we did not close on any pilot or bond projects in April. On the expense side, we're favorable to the budget by $139,000 year-to-date. Mostly in all categories by $122,000, but it's offset mostly by slightly increase in year-to-date consulting and professional services. Excuse me. And then also software and subscription and taxes and insurance of $14,000. So if you can keep moving to page 8, please. Thank you. So this page provides a 13th month trend of revenues and expenses. Our spending in April was slightly above the average in the prior month, primarily driven by, again, consulting and professional services due to invoice timing. Page 9, please. Okay, so this is a balance sheet year-on-year comparison. The balance sheet composition remains consistent, and there's really no material changes or updates given minimal activity over the year. Then page 10 is a snapshot of Pathways program revenues and expenses. So again, here we're talking about total revenues of 863 year-to-date with expenses at 17,000 year-to-date. And then page 11 is the last piece of the of this section, cash and cash equivalents at month's end. So they were 10.4 million at April's month's end, which is lower by 118,000 versus the prior month of 10.5 million. That's it for that. Byron, did you have any other additional comments?
No, not at the moment. I think you covered everything, Wade.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that addresses, I think, item 5 on the agenda.
It does. And that's, get back to it. I was following it on my other computer here.
And I'm I'm bouncing between screens too. Easy to get a little lost.
Is there any questions on the programs committee report? I see that we have discussion and a motion for approval. If there aren't any questions for Mr. Wooten, I would entertain a motion for approval of the programs committee report.
Quick
I'm
clarification.
sorry.
Is this for the programs committee?
No, there's a mistake.
No, finance and investment. You're right. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
I'm looking at item 6.
And I'm sorry, I do have a question. Wait, and I may have missed it when you were talking about the audit, but you said that we are still on track for submission on by Wednesday.
No, it's been extended. So
Oh, it's been extended.
July 31st, Byron?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So do we have to vote to receive, I guess, the Finance and Investment Committee report?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So
Your financials, they need to be received.
okay. Edgar, you're muted.
Sorry, guys. So we received the report and now we'll move on to the report of the Finance and Investment Committee. And we'll move on to item 6, which is the Programs Committee Pipeline Report. Ms. Vice Chair, Ms. Morris.
Andronika, you're muted too, although it doesn't look like it's.
Double muted. I got it. So good afternoon, everybody. We have the Programs Committee Pipeline Report that we were going to review for everybody because we're hoping to get it finalized. And we did have a Programs Committee, and we do have some information to share there. And we do have a dashboard. So I'm not sure if we want to, in what order do we want to talk about this and how. But the big thing that was up for approval is and we want a motion for approval. I have a question about that. So what are we approving?
That
That's
that may be a carryover.
Okay, yeah, I didn't
the
think we had
agenda.
anything to approve.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
anything to approve this month. So,
Right.
okay, so all we have is discussion.
yes,
All right,
ma'am.
and so do we have the, do we want to go, I mean, I think what we probably should do, since this is the big pressing item, is go over the pipeline report with the board members to see where we are with it and see if there's any additional input that's needed, go through it. We don't have everybody on the call, so I do think that I know we circulated this amongst the board members, and we can just circle back with the board members who aren't on here to make sure that, we have a list of things that we gave the staff a list of items that we wanted to see. And so we can go through that right now. So if we're gonna share this on the screen or if we're just going to review it because it's in our board packet.
Does anybody see it? I have it up on the screen now.
Nope. We see the agenda.
Okay, no problem. Do you see the pipeline now?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Andronika, these columns do have their bunch of them. So just tell me to move on once we get past, but just so that everybody can see, okay?
Sure. So as a reminder for everybody, this is what the staff are going to be sharing with the board monthly to give us the status of the large-scale multifamily projects, the pilots that are going to be coming through. And again, they're going to be coming to us in a variety of ways. Some of them will be approved. They will be coming through the program committee for review and then put on the agenda for approval. And they will remain on the list once, if they get approved, they will remain on the list for us to monitor how they are being managed and where they are in their efforts to be completed. And then some of them will be on here simply as, you know, they had an initial inquiry with the staff and the staff is tracking it and until it comes through the official process, not the official process, until it goes through the next stage of each process. So this is the list. Everybody should see it in their packet. And like I said, we talked to the staff about adding different things, you know, the numbers of units and the affordable units. And one of the things that's still missing are the income bands for the affordability, so we can know where folks are. And we got the home ownership tenure type, so we know what these are. Like there's some of them on here are condos, and but most of these are home ownership projects. We have the projected closing date, and I think total developer cost, where it is in the process. That's great with the percentages. You know, I think we asked you guys to come up with a way so that we could figure out at a glance where they are, and I would have been fine with color coding it, but I think this makes a lot more sense what you guys ended up doing. So wanted to, and again, like I said, we don't have everybody here today. We're missing 2 board members. So we do want to make sure that all of them see it and offer their feedback. But I think I'm really excited that we've gotten this close and we're almost ready to rock. So anybody got any questions, comments, concerns?
This is Wade. I've got a question. Is there can this document be shared with the board just so we can, I guess, review it at our leisure?
Yeah, if you click on the link in the packet, it'll open it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that might be something that we want to make sure that the board members get the link, and because this is a live document, right, guys? You guys, yeah, that's why we're getting it this way, because that way when we click on the link, we will always have the most up-to-date information instead of being, you know, sharing Excel spreadsheets and which version do you have? Just click on the link, click on the link, click on the link, and we'll have the most up-to-date version. That's great.
Yes, and Ms. Morris, if it meets your pleasure, we'll keep it as a standing agenda item under program.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, that makes sense to me.
great.
Yeah, Vice
Any
Chair
other
Morris.
questions? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add a comment just so the board understands where we're going with this pipeline. This is the first of what we expect to be many pipelines. Our Sustainable Developer Program was launched last year, so we got a head start in putting this together and working with the city. They had a lot of data, but we're also developing pipelines similar to this for the other programs that we built into our new structure, our new strategy, the Resilient New Orleans Plan. So we expect to deliver more information like this to you, but just for different types of projects. So the future pipelines may not be as large as this one because housing is just going to be a big need for us always. But there will be other pipelines with substantially sized projects, as well as other key investments that are part of the Resilient New Orleans Plan. So I'm glad you like what you see so far because there's other information in the works and we'll share it as it becomes available.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, Damon. Any other questions from fellow board members about the pipeline? Again, like I said, what we want to make sure is everybody clicks on the link and opens it and kicks it around a little bit. And if we have any other comments if you guys can let us know, those of you who are not on the program committee, if you can let us know if you got any other requests, and we will share that with staff at the July meeting or in writing. We can just tell the staff. All right. If we don't have any other questions, I'll kick it off and go to our report. Do we have our our dashboard, or am I vamping? Well, I've got my notes, so I'm ready to rock and roll.
Why don't you go ahead with your talking points?
Yeah, I'll just do it. I'll do the talking points. Yeah, that's fine. So since we were looking at the pipeline, I do want to do a quick overview of it just for everybody who might not have been able to read that small print. So the Sustainable Developer Pipeline, that's the name of that report. There's 53 total projects on the report, and they have 15 active applications pending. The majority of these applications are requesting payment in lieu of taxes pilot programs. The cities, they're part of the smart housing mix. The mandatory inclusionary zoning and the voluntary inclusionary zoning actually go live next week. So these are people who've already gotten in ahead of the game. They want to work with the Finance Authority, with Finance New Orleans, and they want to take advantage of our ability to provide them with some of this financial assistance. We're going to hopefully see more projects after the MIZ and the VIZ, the mandatory inclusionary and voluntary inclusionary zoning process go live under our Smart Housing Mix banner. So this is really exciting. Then we've got the Green Mortgage Program has gone live. The staff have completed lender training, and it started on the 21st. So they're going to be starting a marketing campaign to get outreach. And that's one of the things that we are hoping to see tied to with our community support fund. And again, we talked about this a little bit. There's about $48,000 remaining. We want them to focus on utility assistance so that the staff can also work with those homeowners and possibly align them with the Green Mortgage Program. And then Own New Orleans, our single family program, which is being phased out and will be replaced by the Green Mortgage Program. Minimal activity that's continuing. Now that the Green Mortgage Program is live, we expect to see those loans be originated and those kind of home ownership opportunities those kinds of opportunities be presented to property owners and so first-time homeowners, so that they can buy a house that is energy efficient, or buy a house and make it energy efficient and contributing to the climate, ending our climate issues. So that is the summary of the program committee report. And one thing that is we do want to add, in case anybody's heard about it, talk to the team about this. The Green Mortgage product is coming out. We want to make sure that it's not confused with the PACE program, a program that's been gotten some bad press lately. That is also a program to help people affect energy efficiency, upgrades and repairs. But it's nothing like what our team is working on, and they're going to make that clear in their marketing strategy and outreach and things like that. So other than the fact that they want to help with energy efficiency, that's the only similarity. Damon and his team have a program that is thoughtful and will be impactful and will not take advantage of people, which is one of the hallmarks of what we've seen in reports out of this PACE program. So yeah, that's all we have, unless anybody has any questions, comments. Giselle, did I miss anything that we wanted, Chairman, that we mentioned at program committee that we wanted to make sure we share with the board?
No, I think you covered it, but thank you so much to you and the staff for getting the pipeline report done. So really happy about that. So great work. Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So I heard you mention that, and I'm not sure if you're the right person to answer this question, but I heard you mention that the staff did lender training. Yeah. But the lender training, what does that consist of? I'm just curious.
So I do know the answer, but I'm going to let the staff answer. Okay. They originate the loans. The lenders act as our originators for the loan products, and so they have to be trained on protocol and procedure. Damon, Kelly, you guys want to chime in and talk about who you had at the training? I think that would be, and how many lenders you've lined up so far.
Thanks, Ms. Morris. So we did have lender training, and it was a collaboration with eHousing, which is the software where the originations are booked. It covered all the program guidelines, terms, documentation, and how they input the data into the system. We had about 25 various lenders on the line, and we're also following up with them to do additional training from their back office. I think it went very well. We had really good feedback from them being interested. We had some follow-up phone calls. NOLA Lending specifically called on several occasions with more questions, and they were all addressed. In addition to a phone call I received today from a lender, and I apologize, I'm drawing a blank. She's someone that really hasn't booked a lot of loans with us, but was really interested in the energy efficiency. So I reached back out with her today, and we're providing additional training to her and her back office team also. So it's still additional training happening in the background, focusing not just on the underwriters, but we're now talking to post closers and their back office staff so that everyone's questions can be addressed and training is suffice for everyone within that lender group.
Now, thank you for the answer. But are these sessions closed, or is it something that either the public or somebody like myself could sit in and get a better understanding and an education on how this is done?
These were closed. They were specific to the underwriting of the loan and the documentation, so it was lender specific.
Okay.
But
All right, thank you. That was my only question.
I was gonna say, but go ahead, Damon. I think we're about to say the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mr. Thomas, there are future events planned for rollout to the public. So we'll be educating the public about the Green Mortgage Program and other stakeholder groups too. Informally, we started talking to a group of realtors. We're starting to talk to the different community organizations out there that are needed in order to make this program work. But the lenders play a very critical role as the originators of these products. And historically, these programs are only as good as the lenders you have in them. Because we can we can build up a pipeline of people, but we need lenders to process these loans on our behalf. They have the back office infrastructure that we just don't have. So they do play a valuable role. And we spend a lot of time training our stakeholder groups, the ones that actually help us operate the programs. We spend a lot of time training those groups and working with them before we roll something out. And then once we roll out, we spend a lot more time with the end user of the program. But we've also spent some time with end users of this program. We just haven't rolled out anything publicly, but we will very soon.
Okay, thanks. And I guess my interest is to just get a more in-depth understanding of everything that's going on. So if there's ever an opportunity where I can sit in and kind of just be a fly on the wall at one of these sessions or trainings, I'm very interested.
Sure. I mean, there's some information we can send out to the board as well. If the board wants additional time to learn about this program or any other programs, we can set up some time where the staff can sit down and walk through the different details, because it is important that you know these things, especially as we start to scale up. And right now, we're not making a big investment off our balance sheet to make these programs work. But at some point, we will, and we'll have to make them grow the way we want. So your decision is going to come down to put money into one program or the other. So I do think it's a good idea to just get more in detail if you need it. So perhaps we can talk, Vice Chair Morris, at the next board meeting the next committee meeting about spending some time with the board one-on-one so that they can get a better understanding of how these programs work, the kind of infrastructure that has to be in place, and the type of investment that it requires from us.
Thank you. That'd be greatly appreciated. Whatever anybody can do.
Yep.
that makes sense, Damon. So we can talk about that at the next meeting, at the next committee meeting, and talk about opportunities for additional education. I know there's been some outreach already, and maybe we can make sure we let the board members know when those things are happening, and if anybody wants to drop in. We have to be careful and make sure that there are not too many of us there. So we will, we probably need to make sure that we RSVP with the staff and let them know that we want to be there. But yeah, let's see if we can put a calendar together and share that with everybody. Any other questions for program committee? All right, Chair Chase, back to you,
Thank
sir.
you. I think we're good, and I'm excited to see these programs come online and the different reports and dashboards to track them as we move forward in growth. We're going to move on to item 7, executive management report. So Mr. Burns, take us away.
Thank you, Chair Chase. And Naj, do you have my report? If not, I can share my screen. You already got it. Thank you. So I'm going to start off on slide 3 with some highlights, some news and highlights of things that have occurred over the last 30 days. We just talked about this. After 3 years of research and development, Finance New Orleans launched the Green Mortgage Program. It was a soft launch, so we still have some work to do, but the lights are on, if you will. And we're targeting our first closings over the next 60 to 90 days. Kelly and her team are already working with some potential home buyers that have expressed an interest in this type of program. So we're working on those first few, just make sure we understand how this works, because this is a little different than what we've done in the past. So there's that 3 years of research and development. Staff put a lot of time into figuring out what needs to be different about a green mortgage program than a regular mortgage program. And there are various elements that are new to us. So we've spent a lot of time building those out, and we're going to work with some target homeowners over the next 60 to 90 days. So I'd like to stop here and acknowledge Kelly and her team, Carolyn, Sheila, and Derek. They've been working very hard on moving this program off the ground while managing other programs. So it's not an easy thing to do. We're asking them to manage a lot at once, and we're going to continue asking them to manage a lot at once, because as I've said earlier, we have other programs that we need to deliver to the community. So we're going to maintain some focus, but we're going to multitask as well, because that's what's required of us. So I want to acknowledge them, congratulate them on getting this program off the ground, and the work is just getting started, but they're up for the task, and that's important for the board to know that they're spending night and day trying to figure out how to make this work. Next item on the list is about President Biden and the bipartisan group of senators that have announced the bipartisan infrastructure framework. It's an agreement that focuses on investments in roads, railways, other critical infrastructure. The agreement is supposed to have a price tag of $1.2 trillion over 8 years. With more than $500 billion in new spending. Most importantly to Finance New Orleans and the people of New Orleans, the details regarding the National Green Bank and Clean Energy Accelerator are still being developed. So what we expect to happen from this bipartisan infrastructure framework is capitalization of a national green bank through the American Green Bank Consortium, which we're a member of, and that group would be capitalized, and in turn would distribute that capital to local green banks who are actually investing in projects on the ground in their communities. So Finance New Orleans, we have a number of programs where we could use some additional capital, especially to scale everything up. There's going to be a substantial amount of capital needed. So if all things go well, this bipartisan infrastructure framework should lay the foundation for Finance New Orleans to receive a substantial amount of, or give us the opportunity at least to receive some federal funding that will allow us to scale up our programs and reach that $1 billion community investment goal. So I kind of skipped ahead to that last bullet point, but otherwise we're still working on our strategic plan and Resilient New Orleans finance plan rollout. We're working with City Hall. and some other key stakeholders, and we're going to make some announcements over the next 120 days. So we're not going to do it all at once. We're going to keep putting information out, sending out a press release, some videos. We're going to do some information sessions. We have a number of things planned over the next 6 months. And it's all intended to get the community familiar with our new direction and how they can participate. Next slide, please, Nash. And this is our scoreboard for our strategic plan, strategic action plan. As you can see, from May to June, we've completed a few items. So the in progress and completed numbers have flipped. And that's directly related to the Green Mortgage Program. We're starting some employee training next month. I'm really excited about that because our staff is going to be working with another green bank, the New York City Energy Efficiency Corporation. They already have some green banking initiatives off the ground, and they spend a lot of time sharing that information with other green banks. So our staff is going to spend a little time with their staff, and that's the start of what we expect to be an ongoing process of training our employees to make sure that they're experts in their given fields, and that they're continuously adding value to what we're trying to do as an organization. And then also, of course, we approved the Resilient New Orleans Finance Plan resolution last month. So we're starting to knock these things off the list. There are many other things that we want to accomplish over the next 18 months. Remember, this is a 2-year strategic action plan. So we have more time to complete the 31 items that you see not started. But the first few that we're working on are really big ones, and they're going to clear the way for us to build up some momentum going forward. So I expect to see the trend to continue upwards in terms of completing our tasks. Next slide, please. I showed you this slide last month, and it's a snapshot strategic plan scorecard. This is not the official scorecard that we're going to use on an ongoing basis to track our progress, to track our key metrics, but it does include some of those elements. But I wanted to give everybody an idea of where we've come from to where we are now, to give you some perspective. And the numbers are pretty much the same from last month. The cash number was adjusted as it will be on a monthly basis. But you can see we have a lot more activity in multifamily. We're starting to support some construction jobs as we build those pipelines and as we roll out additional programs and features to existing programs. We expect these numbers to continue. So our staff is very focused on production, and we haven't gotten to the point up until now, we haven't gotten to the point where we can see the numbers moving, but we know things are happening in the background. But now that we're launching and getting things out there, these numbers should start to move. Even if it's slow in the beginning, they should start to move. So this is what the staff is going to be focused on, delivering these results to the community, because it's going to lead to that $1 billion community impact that we're focused on over the next 10 years. So that concludes the executive management report. Does anybody have any questions? Well, if there are no questions, I'll turn it over to you, Chair Chase. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm always excited to hear your management report, because each one, if you look over the months, it shows the growth of where we are in terms of achieving the vision and the strategic plan that we set out. And like I said before, as these new initiatives and programs start to roll out, we have those dashboards and pipeline to track the progress. So I always commend you and the staff for keep pushing us forward, and excited to see the growth in each step that we take to realize our vision.
Thank you. We are happy to serve. Thank you.
All right. Moving on, we have no executive session. There's no other business. Is there any public comment?
No public comments at this time.
If there's no public comment or any last questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. See you all later at the next month's meeting, and thank you all.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank
Have a
you.
Thank you,
great day.
everyone. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye-bye.